Hey, what's going on, guys? Richie Fix here, back with another video, and today we wrap up 2024 Jada style, and we are going to rank all the figures that came out this year in the 2024 cycle. However, I am not counting Player 2 repaints. I do count Violent Ken as his own character, because he does have his own, little picture in the roster slot. But as far as Pink Chun-Li from SDCC, the Big Bad Toy Store and Bison and the White Gi Ken, they're out. We're not including them in this list. So we got 6 figures that came out this year. It's time to put them in order and which ones were my favorites and which ones got to the bottom of the list. Now, keep in mind, I love all these figures. I do. But there are different things that come into consideration when I'm ranking them. A lot of them will be nostalgia, the quality of the actual figure, how I enjoyed the figure, different things like that. So 100%, my list will probably not match your list, but I'd love to hear your list in the comments below. There's only 6 figures. It wouldn't take you long. Just rank them 1 to 6 on which ones were your favorite of the year and which ones were probably still great figures, but just didn't do it as much as the other ones. Well, that's enough of an intro right now. It's time to get in the top 6. Let's go. Alright, guys, coming in at number 6 is indeed Violent Ken. Now, while I was super excited for this figure upon announcement, throughout the year, I kind of looked at it more and more, and at the end of the day, it's not a repaint, because it's not that. It's got its own different head sculpt with the hair, this open mouth sculpt you see here. There's enough difference between the regular Ken and the Violent Ken, definitely to be classified as its own figure. But at the end of the day, it's just, I don't know. I was kind of looking at everything about it, and I love it, but there are the other figures that came out this year that I loved even more. And like I said, these are not a diss on any of the figures. I absolutely loved all of the figures that came out this year, but Violent Ken, at the end of the day, was there enough to really put him above some of the other figures from the traditional Ken with this Ken? I just couldn't find enough substance to really put him above some of the others. So at number 6, I have Violent Ken, which is interesting because I had Violent Ryu towards the top of my list earlier this year. I guess coming in at number 5 is going to be DJ, and it's not because of the plastic chest or the miscolorization or anything like that. I actually really enjoyed this figure. But at the end of the day, he is just a little bit of a plain Jane as far as like the costume. I don't have a tremendous amount of nostalgia for the character either. But I do absolutely love his effect piece. Now, his effect piece, if we were ranking those, is probably going to be number 1. I think his effect piece that he gets with this particular character is absolutely awesome. But at the end of the day, I also didn't like the interchangeable braids. But yeah, alright, guys, coming in at number 5 is going to be DJ. Now, it's not because of the miscolorization or any QC issues that, might have been brought up for DJ. I actually really enjoyed this figure a lot. But at the end of the day, he is a little bit of a bland character, kind of like Fei Long, where he's just got the swoosh pants. However, he does get some nice wristbands, and he gets the gold chain, which is pretty cool. If we were talking effect pieces, I think he actually has the best effect piece out of all the figures. To be honest, I love his flame effect piece. And this year was just a hard year for ranking figures. We got so many good ones. He did beat out Violent Ken, which might shock a lot of people. But yeah, at the end of the day, a couple things I didn't like. Obviously, the mismatch in the chest is a thing. It didn't bug me at all, but it is a thing. It has to be noted. And then wasn't a big fan, I ended up not being a big fan of the interchangeable hair pieces with him and CAMMY. So at the end of the day, there's just not enough nostalgia, but, he was enough to beat out Violent Ken. He's a good solid number 5 for me this year. Coming in at number 4, might be a shocker for a lot of people here, and I guarantee that she's probably higher on a lot of people's list. But for me, CAMMY came in at number 4, and really the main issue with this CAMMY figure for me, like I said, she's still a phenomenal figure. There are no bad figures on this list. I'm not hating on any of the figures, but why she fell for number 4 for me was the interchangeable braids. I'm not really a fan of that system. They did it with DJ as well, where it's kind of like a plug-in system, And for me, it's just I would have rather just had the hair sculpted directly into the head. I'm not that crazy about the articulated hair. While I think it's a good idea, I just feel like overall the execution didn't probably work out the way that I ended up wanting it to work. But yeah, that's really the reason why she dropped as far as she did. I do ultimately think I like her better than Chun-Li. It's really, really close. I mean, some days I think Chun-Li's better, and some days I think the Cammy's better. Overall, the figure's stunning. They gave her the assets that everybody wanted. They gave the happy medium there. I like her head sculpts. Again, if we were doing effect pieces, hers would probably be number 2, right behind DJ. But at the end of the day, it was really just the hair. Overall, I love the figure. It poses really great. The figure's absolutely, stunning as far as a figure, but it really just was the hair. I had to find some flaws in some of these figures to rank them somehow, and unfortunately, Cammy, due to that, had to drop to number 4. Coming in at number 3 is going to be M. Bison. Now, I absolutely love everything about this figure. The sculpt is amazing. I like his effect piece. The freaking wired cape with a $25 figure is nuts. The head sculpts turned out nice. The only real con, and it was subjective to the figure that you got, were his shoulder pads had some issues and some QC issues with the clip-ons. But absolutely love this figure. So nice, I bought him twice. Yeah, I have 3 M. Bisons somehow. I don't know where that happened along the way. And that's technically 4 if you count the oh, that's what happened. Jada ended up just sending me a brand new figure. I didn't have to send anything else out. And then I bought 2 of them initially. But yeah, I absolutely love everything about this figure. The fact that you can remove the cape, the fact that there's so many different options with the actual figure. The sculpt itself, it's just such a big, hefty figure. It feels good in the hand. It feels of quality. I love everything about the presence that it has on the shelf. And it was hard to put him at number 3, but someone had to go there. And number 3, M. Bison. Coming in at number 2 is probably no shock here, is going to be Dhalsim. I can't believe the execution of this Dhalsim. Like, to me, this figure is just everything that I really wanted it to be. Yes, it didn't have the yoga flame or anything like that, but it had everything else. I love the sculpt of this Dhalsim. The metal earrings, the bracelets, the absolute physique in the legs, the chest, the abs. Like, they nailed the face sculpt. It came with the bendy wire limbs, which if we had gotten the yoga flame instead of the bendy limbs, people would have been asking about bendy limbs for this guy. So it was like, you can never win with our community. It's always going to be something's missing, but I guarantee we probably see this guy in SDCC form or something like that, where we eventually get a yoga flame, sculpt and the effect piece and everything like that. But to me, this figure is absolutely ultimate. It was so hard not to put him at number 1, but he did end up getting beat out in the end. But my God, it was close. Number 2, Dhalsim. Coming in at number 1, I mean, it was an easy pick for me from the minute I held the figure in my hand. It is Guile. He lived up to every expectation that I could have wanted in this Guile figure. After countless times of having the Storm Collectibles figure in my cart, from eBay to Mercari, and just never being able to pull the trigger due to the price, I am so happy that we finally have a Guile that's affordable and ended up being just as good, in my opinion, as the Storm. Are there things that could be improved on this figure? Sure. I wish there was a little bit of a wash in his hair, but the absolute sculpt, the articulation, the tattoos that came out so clean printed on the shoulder, and just the articulation as a whole in the shirt sculpt ended up being really nice. Everything about this figure to me was top notch. I was so excited that it turned out as well as it did. And for me, and even the real dog tags, like the head sculpts, everything just turned out everything that I could have wanted for. To me, it is the absolutely best figure in the line that we have gotten so far. Now, next year is a big year for Jada as far as some of the big characters that we get. Blanka is my absolute favorite character from Street Fighter. If you don't know, now you do. So I'm very curious to see how they execute on him. But as of right now, it would take a lot to knock Guile out of number 1. But there are some figures that, I'm keeping an eye out for. And that's going to be T-Hawk, Blanka, Vega looks interesting. And just there are some heavy hitters next year. But as of right now, and as of 2024, Guile takes number 1. That is going to wrap up the ranking of the 6 figures that did release in the 2024. I know for fact that my list is probably much different than yours, but I'd love to hear yours. Let me know in the comments below. I have a basically 2025 preparation video for Jada coming out next year. There is so much that is coming out next year with Jada that we don't even know about, but we are going to just kind of cover what is coming out, what's first, the schedule is first, is what's going to drop first and what you can keep an eye out for, and really just kind of, I guess, game plan 2025. But I don't know where that'll probably drop on New Year's Day. But what a year for Jada Toys. 2024 was absolutely phenomenal. What a great year for the figure line, and it just seems to be getting better as they really start to learn the process, and as they make each figure, you can tell that they're learning from mistakes and that each figure is getting that much better. So makes me super excited to see what they have for 2025. But guys, it's been a great year. If anything should drop before the end of the year, as far as Jada, obviously we'll make a video on it, but I don't know. I guess they could announce maybe some exclusives. I know Paul Mart said they had another exclusive coming out, but I would be not surprised if we didn't hear anything else from Jada for the rest of the year. But if he has another interview as far as June or anything like that that I can find that I can make a video, I will. Other than that, guys, 2024 is wrapped up as far as Jada Toys and as far as I'm concerned. And, well, we got 2025, and it looks to be a monster epic year for the line. So I'm excited. If you guys are new, go ahead and subscribe, and if you've already subscribed, if you could leave a like, that helps, and I'll see you on the next one. Richie Figs. Later.